Because despite all the beatings I take, 24 hours a day, every day of the week, the captain's eldest son is still standing here, strong and firm, alongside the Brazilian people, while Lula's son remains afraid and hiding outside Brazil, suspected of receiving a monthly payoff of 300,000 reais from the bald guy at INSS.
Hi, for those who don't know me, my name is Guilherme Sugimori Santos. I'm a criminal lawyer and I represent Fabio Luiz Lula da Silva, also known as Lulinha. Yesterday, Flávio Bolsonaro, who is a prospective presidential candidate, posted a video asking where Lulinha is, and saying that he is accused of receiving a monthly payoff of 300,000 reais. I felt it was important to clarify some things for the senator. You don't need to look for Fabio, because for months he has already made himself available to the Federal Supreme Court for anything necessary, including providing his bank and tax information. Fabio isn't accused of anything because he hasn't even been indicted in the police investigation. They've already made up everything about Fabio Luiz, from having a gold Ferrari to owning JBS, even to buying an island, and it's always during election cycles and it's always a lie. Now there's a false accusation about getting money from the INSS which has already been debunked. The so-called allowance you mention, only one person said they heard about it but never saw it and had no proof. And the federal police itself stated in a report that it was necessary to be very cautious with this kind of statement. And that's why transfers, withdrawals, deposits, and tax returns were checked, which by the way were leaked and made public. And the whole country saw that there was no money coming from the INSS. We have already explained this to the Supreme Federal Court voluntarily, with clarifications and documents. That's where we accounted for everything, and that's where Fabio's innocence is being proven outside the Supreme Federal Court. His activities are none of your business because he is not a public servant and he is not a politician. Unlike all of Bolsonaro's sons, I am not a politician either. I am a criminal lawyer and I handle the case with explanations, evidence, and documents. That's what you do when facing unfair accusations. So that's my advice to you, do the same. Provide your tax and bank records. Present the report on the funds from Banco Master, which is the report you promised 66 days ago. Ask your brother to open the Heaven Gate Fund's bank records, where the millions paid by Vorkar went. And also clarify why your office canceled 2 invoices for a company linked to Master and then issued 2 invoices for a company with the same accountant. If you explain all of this and anything else that comes up, maybe the press will leave you alone, but you won't be able to divert attention. Speaking of Fabio, who has already clarified the facts to the Supreme Court and remains at the court's disposal, I hope this video has clarified things and can help in some way. Best regards and have a great weekend.
To top it off, that bald trash didn't let me visit my friend who was unjustly imprisoned. When I know that Lula received plenty of foreign leaders while he was in prison, among them the infamous former Argentine president Alberto Fernandez. This is nothing more than a clear example of the injustice of his detention and its obvious vengeful nature. Dear Jair, I will be as close as the distance that the bureaucrats are preventing today. Soon it will become a reality and we will be able to hug our dear Jair Bolsonaro again.
You can be sure that to govern the country, you need a lot of moral independence and personal courage not to have a candidate. Let it be there. Kinder egg with a little surprise every day.
I came here today to talk about Haddad, to talk about Marcio, to talk about Marina, and to talk about Simone. I'll talk about Alckmin on Sunday, and I'll tell you why I want to talk to you about them. Because this election might be the first one in Brazil where the opponents, lacking stature, lacking a track record, lacking proposals, will use intelligence, artificial intelligence, to try to take advantage of the good faith of the people of São Paulo. It's important to repeat that. Our opponents are going to be very active on digital platforms using artificial intelligence to make up things they haven't done, to make up things they aren't, and to make promises they will never keep, because that's the foundation of their campaign. It's something called lying, and only those who don't have a track record lie and tell lies. So I wanted to tell you that rarely in the history of Sao Paulo have we seen such unity in the slate that was put together in Sao Paulo to run in the elections. Four people who have a history, four people who have a past and are not ashamed of their past. And they want people to know about their past. Because by knowing their past, we can be sure that the commitments they make to you, they will keep. Governing Sao Paulo and the two girls in the Senate representing the people of Sao Paulo, are they going to pay me something for taking care of you two girls? So do you owe me something now? And it's very important, folks. It's very important for us to consider the significance of Haddad's election for the state of Sao Paulo. Haddad is an exemplary person. I know few people with the level of loyalty, comradeship, and capacity for hard work that my comrade Haddad has. And that's why I think Sao Paulo has a historic chance to have the best Minister of Education this country has ever had. To elect as governor of Sao Paulo the best economy minister we've ever had. And it's important to remember that it was with Comrade Haddad in charge of the economy that we achieved the lowest accumulated inflation in 4 years. And with Comrade Haddad running the economy, we achieved the lowest unemployment in Brazil's history. It was with Haddad in the economy that we managed to break the export record. It was with Haddad in the economy that we managed to increase the minimum wage above inflation. It was with Haddad running the economy that we managed to ensure that workers had the highest accumulated income in the history of this country. It was with Haddad running the economy that Brazil went back to growing above 3%. And it's important to remember that Brazil only grew above 3 when I left the presidency in 2010, and then above 3 in Dilma's first year. And since then, we have never managed to grow even 2%. And in the 3 years that Haddad was in charge of the economy, we grew above 3%, one of the best averages in the world. We weren't able to do everything we wanted, but Haddad showed that with seriousness, with responsibility, and with negotiation skills. He managed to do something that had been attempted for over 40 years. To carry out a tax reform, making the poor pay less income tax in this country.